All right, well, holiday gatherings can be tough for those of us who are shy, especially if you're expected to give a speech. But fortunately, public speaking coach Milo Shapiro is here to help. Good morning, Milo.
Good morning, Stacey. Good to be here.
Thank you for coming in. Why is public speaking the #1 fear?
I think it's because in life we're always trained to do something else. We have something else that's our expertise. And then eventually someone says, oh, we need you to get up and speak about that. And we suddenly realize we've never been trained to do that. So why would we be good at it?
Right.
So we have all these things to learn, and we're learning them on the spot, then we flub up, and then we think, oh, I'm not good at that, so then you avoid doing it. And the fear reinforces itself.
Okay.
So if we have the opportunity to, what the analogy I like to use is if you were a diver and I was your coach and you were afraid to jump in the pool, I could get up there on the board with you and say to you, relax, we can visualize, but if there's no water in the pool, you've got a reason to be scared.
Sure.
I'd rather you climb down with me and we put the water in the pool. And that's what we do when we're coaching. We teach you the skills so it's not so scary to go back up again.
Okay, excellent. So you teach us the skills. What would you say is the first thing that people can start doing now to prepare?
Take a look at what you want to say and then say, how much data do I need to cover? And then pull back, because people can only absorb so much data. But stories they can take on. So think about what's a story that the lesson is the things that I want to share with you. And especially if you open with a story, you bring your audience in, they're like, oh, now I know why I want to know more about this.
Okay.
And the point sinks in much more effectively.
Okay, so think of a lesson that you would like to teach, and then think of a story about yourself where you can teach that lesson.
And make that the moral of your story.
What if they're sitting home saying, but I'm not that interesting. How do I come up with a story? Is there anything that they can be doing the next couple of days to find a story?
Look at your own life, because I find that it's always there. There was a time when I was telling a friend a story and my other friend was looking at me, and I said afterwards, why were you looking at me funny? He said, I lived through the same thing, but I didn't see a story in that. But when you look at it, you see it as potentially interesting. We're all interesting. It's all in how we tell it. So did something funny happen in line at the supermarket? Did someone call you up? There's always a story in there, and sometimes there's more than one lesson in a good story.
So it can be simple, and it can take on a whole life of its own.
Absolutely.
Okay, so specifically when we deliver these stories, give us some advice. First of all, how do we handle flubs? If we say the wrong thing or we become brain dead, how should we handle that?
The best thing you can do is acknowledge the pink elephant in the room. When things go wrong, I will usually force myself to laugh, point it out and say, well, didn't expect that to happen.
Okay.
I had a huge banner fall down and almost hit me during a speech one time. And I had just said, you never know what's going to come up. And boom, that happened. And everyone was scared because they thought it hit me. I said, you also don't know what might come down. I said, let's just leave that on the floor. It's not going to cause any problems. And I put everyone's mind at ease that it wasn't a big deal to me. Truth was, I was trembling because this thing almost hit me, and it was huge.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But you got to make people feel comfortable with you.
There you go. Okay, what about eye contact? I teach high school, and I notice that my students, when they deliver speeches, they're looking at, yes. How do we handle eye contact?
Once upon a time, the advice was given to look past the back row, so it made it feel like you were taking everybody in, and all it really did was made everyone feel alienated. So what I recommend you do is spend a few moments looking at one person and then connect with someone over here and then connect with somebody over here. And what that does is, even if I'm not connecting with that person, it makes me feel connected to one of their peers, and then in turn, I am somewhat connected to them.
Okay. What if a person does not feel that they have a sense of humor, that they're not funny? Should they try to fake it?
It's good to try and incorporate humor if you can.
Okay.
If you know you're not funny and you don't have time to plan it out, better not to try it and go there. But most people actually discover there is room for humor. What I don't recommend is the joke, just starting with a joke, because it often has no connection unless you can figure out a way that the punchline of the joke leads into what you wanted to say. Then that can work. But better usually to have the offhanded remark, something self-deprecating. Laughing at yourself is a better way to use humor than to just try and be a stand-up in the middle of something that might be serious.
Got it. So have the joke on yourself, or have it be a transition into the story that you're going to tell.
Right.
Okay, so where can people go for extra help besides this 4-minute hit that we've just had? I understand that you've written a book.
I have.
I love public speaking. Get A's, not Z's.
Yes, don't want to put your audiences to sleep.
Yeah, what can we find in here?
You can find it on my website, publicdynamics.com, or it's on Amazon.com.
Okay.
And I wrote the book because I just found my clients were asking me for more than we could cover in an hour session here and there. but the books I was finding were really boring. So I set out to write one that would be fun to read, and it's all done with top 10 lists. Top 10 ways to blow it with your handouts. Top 10 ways to alienate your audience in 10 seconds.
Okay.
So it's light, fun reading, but still covers important topics.
Excellent. And it's not too late. Even if someone has to deliver a speech tomorrow on Christmas, they can do it, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Given the tips you just gave us.
Just take a deep breath and remember, in the long run, it's not about you. It's not even about your audience. It's about the message. Just focus on serving the message to the best of your ability, and that's all anyone can expect of you, including yourself.
All right, excellent advice. Milo Shapiro, the improv guy, public speaking, G'days, not Z's. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Excellent. All right, well, Leslie Lopez is doing some last-minute holiday shopping. She's over at Grossmont Center.